Hello, Phoenix is rising and so are we. Welcome into the PHNX Rising podcast. Appreciate everyone joining us here on a Tuesday evening. I am, of course, Max Simpson. I am with Mr. Owain Evans, and we do have a special guest with us. It is the USL Championship Final Trophy. Oh, and of course, the head coach of Phoenix Rising, Danny Stone. How we doing, man?
I'm doing great, thank you. I appreciate you having me here this evening.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. No, it is a pleasure to have you. It is a pleasure to be in the presence of you, in the trophy, everyone in the chat. We are excited.
You don't mention me there, though, Max. Like, everyone we're going around.
Listen, man, I already gave you a shout. It's not the pleasure. We already see each other every week. It's plenty, but
it's no longer a pleasure, to be fair.
It hasn't been for a while, but no, man, we're excited to have you. It's gonna be fun. How is everything going, man? It's been quite the off season, a lot of activity, and it's still kind of got the new coach Shine field away.
Yeah. It's been going great. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks where we've obviously had some change going on, and with that, it does mean that we go through a bit of a process for a little while. And the great thing is that we're back in training now, and we have the players back with us. We're back on the grass, and that is always a settling thing for everybody involved. It's where everybody, I think, feels most comfortable. So it's very good to be back on the grass with the players and to be getting going and looking now forwards to the new season.
Nice.
Of course, you're doing so in a bit of a different role. I mean, this first week or so, of being in a completely new role in terms of being the head coach, just how has it been different maybe to what it's been before for you?
Well, clearly, it's in a different role. There are different responsibilities involved with it, and there are different aspects of a day and of a week and of now managing a club that, of course, come with that. It's been a very, very busy last 10 days, but I've enjoyed it immensely so far. And it's we're going through, like I say, a process of making sure all the final pieces are in place for the squad. We have a good preseason schedule ahead of us, so we're very much looking forward to that with some good games involved, I think, over the course of the next 6 or 7 weeks. But it's been a busy time, but one I've really enjoyed so far, and it's a challenge that already feels like one that I'm very, very comfortable with, and I'm really looking forward to it.
It's awesome. I mean, since you were named the team head coach, how does it feel, right? Because it's, you've been with this team for a bit. It's something where you've been immersed within the culture. You've seen really a lot of these players have come through. They're back on the roster. And yet, I'm just curious what that difference is now being in kind of that driver's seat. How is that felt, man? It's been a lot.
Yeah, well, honestly, it's a combination, I would say, of a couple of things.
Yeah.
I'm obviously very familiar with many of the players that are currently with the squad, and we have a really good group of returning players this year. And these are players that I have got to know very well, professionally, of course, but also I know that they are fantastic people as well. And we've, over the course of the last season, we've shared a lot of memories together. And obviously the way the season finished up was a huge achievement for everybody. But I think the outstanding memory for me last season was being able to go through the process and through the journey of building that new group, and then going through the ups and downs of a season, and finally getting to that point where together at the end of the season we fight hard together, and we had a real good spirit and good family feel about the team, as well as I think playing some good football at the end of the season there, and obviously coming through some very, very tough away playoff games ultimately. And that for me is the memory that I'll probably take forwards more than anything, is how together as a group we were able to fight and compete, and then obviously ultimately achieve. So it's memories that will last for a long, long time. That's for sure.
Of course, you've been around this team now for a good few years, in terms of working under Rick Shantz, of course, working under Juan last season. As you look at that time you spent as assistant to those guys, What would you say are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from working under them?
Yeah, listen, I think as an assistant coach, it is a role where the big responsibility you have is to be a big support to everybody, a big connector to all of the pieces, obviously to the playing squad, but from a staff point of view as well. I mean, an assistant coaching role is one that I've now performed at a professional level for many years now, and so I'm very, very aware of what that role entails. And like I say, it is a role that is responsible for being somebody who has the ability to tie pieces together. Somebody who has the ability to be able to work in various different aspects of the team and of the club. And as far as what you learn from the head coaches that you work with, every head coach I've worked with in my career so far, you of course pick things up. And I think I've been lucky and privileged to work with some excellent head coaches who have all been very different in their style. And I've certainly picked up elements of each of their personalities, and each of them have different ways of working that I take things from as well. And I think over the years that ends up being part of who you become. So for me as a head coach moving forwards, I'm sure there are going to be elements of all of the head coaches that I've previously worked with and hopefully supported well from an assistant coach's role. And to be able to tie those two things together and be able, from a head coaching position, support then the staff that I will work with this year, I think puts me in a good place from being able to view that from a wider perspective. So it's a role I'm very much looking forward to continuing.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it's super interesting, right? Of like, I'm sure it's something that's like still ongoing, right? It's all very fresh, the new title and everything. But to your point, it is a lot of how, what kind of things are you looking to take like from your previous experiences and then kind of meshing with that with your own blueprint. And that's got to be really interesting, right? Especially knowing that over, the past few years has been a really strong culture built up. You've definitely taken a lot from your time in the assistant coaching role. But I mean, now being again in that driver's seat, it's going to be interesting to see like where like your, I guess, the identity and philosophy that you bring, how that's similar and kind of how that's different from previous coaches.
Yeah. Well, it's a great question. I think my philosophy as a coach will be one that has a lot of similarities to the way that the team have played over the last 15 months or so in that squad that we've built. Obviously, I played a big role in working with Juan and with the staff in putting that squad together, and I believe in that process that we went through. I believe in the group of players that we put together, and I believe in the way that the team played. And for me, that is a style that I would like to continue to build because I think we are still in that process. I mean, we achieved a lot at the end of last season, but by no means does that mean that we can't continue to build and continue to improve, of course. So we'll be looking to do that this year. And from a personal point of view, of course, now in this position, I'll add elements that I believe are important from how I view the game and how I feel I would like my team to play. And I see that more of a layering on top of the existing performance structure and the existing process that we've already gone through. So, hopefully that adds a little more to the equation, and I look forward to seeing what I'm able to build upon with that.
In terms of building as well, of course, we spoke about this yesterday, but we know that you're looking for another assistant coach to add into the staff. And you did actually have an application in there in the chat from someone who said they've won a lot of things on Football Managers. You should probably give them a
okay. All right.
But,
Good to know.
I think it was goalie man Pat Furr up there saying, he's won everything in Football Manager. But, looking at just, who you've got there and looking at the players and what you've got there in terms of the staff, I'm guessing one of the priorities is going to be bringing in a Spanish speaker, yes? Or
it'll be something that we certainly are looking to include in the staff for sure. We do have a couple of Spanish speaking people around the group already, and they will continue obviously to be a big help. But it's as I said yesterday, the priority is making sure that we properly go through that process so that the person that we bring into the staff and anybody that we bring into the team and to the group through the year have the right qualities and characters from a person point of view, and then obviously from a skill set point of view. So both of those things are important. We're working through that process very hard right now, and we will when we come to decisions in that aspect, we'll make sure that those are good ones for the collective and good ones for the club as a whole.
I mean, kind of looking at how everything is shaping for the season, right? And, we kind of talked about it that we have a lot of players coming back, more people sure in the works and everything like that. What is how is the vibes, right? Like it's something that it's hard to measure on the vibe scale, as we say around here, but it's like, right, you guys are defending champions, you guys have a lot of great pieces in place. How do you kind of balance that, like, hey, we have a lot of work that we want to do, but also like, okay, we're defending champions, maybe there's a bit of a target on our back?
Yeah, I mean, all of those things are true. The first of all, being a defending champion, it puts this team and it puts the club in a position that we haven't been in before previously, and it's a privilege to now be in that position. And we see that as an exciting task. It's something that with the players I've spoken about already, and we'll continue to speak more on that. But the players really do see that as an extra motivation, as do I, as do the staff. And we see this as something we know when we play games this year that teams will come and play Phoenix, and every time we face an opponent that they face a team that are the defending champions, and that does bring an extra element to it. And we're looking forward to that. I certainly see it as a challenge that I'm relishing, and certainly, as I said, it becomes added motivation, I feel, for a group who are obviously extremely pleased. The players that are returning with us are delighted about what we achieved last season, but I don't think any of them are coming back into a new season. And of course, new players joining the squad. Nobody is entering this season feeling like this is not the exact same outcome that we're looking for, and we're going to chase this, and we're going to fight for this again. And this is collectively something that we look at as a big motivation for us.
And of course, now we're just the first preseason game is right around the corner. Yes. But between now and like the start of the season, how many more pieces are you looking to add? Is it going to be just one or two more, or is it maybe a little bit more again? Or
I think potentially one or two more. However, this again is based on kind of what we feel that the squad might need. We're very, very happy with the players that we've brought in. We're extremely happy with the squad as it looks right now. But I think as always, we're looking to always look to strengthen where that's possible. And again, adding good quality people and good quality players into a group is always a good thing. I think from a competitive point of view within the group as well, it's something that that players need. And that competition within the group, as well as being fantastic teammates to each other and creating that family spirit, is both of those elements are important. So perhaps another piece or two, but we are very happy with where the squad has come together at this point.
It'll be interesting to see, especially with preseason upcoming and really everything to look forward to, right? Seeing Albert's comment in the chat. Summit Games standalone Rising will be part of a larger preseason event with about a dozen other teams in Palm Springs in a few weeks. There's a lot to look forward to, right, for the preseason games that are going to be having at PHNX Rising Stadium. Events happening even in California, everything like that. But I think really good way to enjoy that is with our friends at Four Peaks. Four Peaks Brewery, they have absolutely fantastic beers on deck, including their new Bad Birdie beer, guys. I had some watched a little football at their 8th Street pub.
Football or
American football, the kind that you like to bash on. You watch the NFL playoffs as well?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I enjoy watching. Honestly, I enjoy watching almost every sport. There's not a sporting event particularly that I would not enjoy watching.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a team that you go for in the NFL?
To be honest with you, I would say the Denver Broncos sort of became a bit of a team. My wife is wife is from there, so we met while I was working in Denver. So that would probably be the team that I would have to go for. I think, prior to that, I was in Las Vegas for several years. Mm-hmm. And so while I was living there, the team were not in the city at that point. But so I would probably have to go Denver Broncos if I was picking one.
Okay, there we go. Well, our sister network and our podcast at DNVR Broncos and DNVR Rapids getting involved. There's one for you. We definitely won't let our PHNX Cardinals fans hear that, but no, that's all right. But they do have the Bad Birdie, their new beer, their Juicy Golden Ale. Absolutely had it. It was fantastic. It was delicious. It's a collab between Four Peaks and Bad Birdie, both Arizona brands, super drinkable, super crushable. Visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all their great beers near you. Check out at Four Peaks Pub and at Four Peaks Brew. Keep up with the latest and greatest going on in Arizona's hometown brewery. Of course, also want to shout out our friends at Circle K, also a Phoenix Rising partner. Absolutely love that. Circle K is the best. You can find some Four Peaks there. Of course, all the great stuff they have going on at the Inner Circle. Owen, I know you're a big fan of a nice Polar Pop, yes?
Well, I'm going to have to make sure. Look, you know what? I haven't actually signed up for Inner Circle yet, but I know.
What?
But I hear
You're not supposed to say this on the pod, buddy.
No, but I'm going to have to because of that deal on the discount on the gas. Because there's a long trip coming up that's going to have to be driven out to Palm Springs shortly.
Oh, you're saving it all up. Your first 5 fills, 25 cents off a gallon.
For the right time.
Smart man. Okay. I see your angle, Mr. Owen Evans. There we go. Well, yep, you can get your first 5 Phillips, 25 cents off a gallon, right? As well as free snacks, coffees, hot snacks, pizzas, everything like that. They have the great Inner Circle program. Again, join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app. And terms and conditions apply. All participating locations, visit CircleK.com for details. Okay, Mr. Onems, I believe you have a pretty intensive Q&A you have lined up, yes?
Yeah, we're gonna actually go back a bit, right? So
yeah,
we've been
let's do
speaking
it.
a lot about the last week and even maybe extending that out a bit over the last year or two. But we're gonna go way back.
All right,
Yeah.
let's go.
Time to go way back. So
Let's go.
let's start when you were growing up, before you'd moved over here, of course. But let's talk about your earliest memories of football a little bit. So what is your first memory of football?
Yeah, my earliest memories of football would be, if I'm honest with you, it would probably be when I first started going to watch Liverpool, where I'm from, and go to my first games at Anfield, and also probably watching my dad play football in Liverpool. And I think myself and my brother spent many countless hours, more than I can remember, around football environments, soccer environments, and those are very happy memories for me. But those would be my earliest ones. And then from a playing point of view, I remember probably from 6 or 7 years old, when I first began really taking part in organised soccer to some degree, and taking part in summer camps, and honestly any piece of football I could get my hand on. I was immediately obsessed as a kid with playing soccer, and I think it's that's never left me. But those would be my earliest memories, yes, from back in Liverpool at those ages.
I was gonna say the Liverpool fans are already chiming in the chat, Kevin. We're not going to even spell that acronym. Yeah. No, that's okay. No, it's I was gonna say we have a lot of diehards and PHNX Rising fans who are avid Liverpool supporters. Actually, one of them.
That's good to hear.
Actually, one of them was kind of jumped to it. One of them was asking in our Discord. Devin, son of Kevin, was asking, what do you have for their prediction tomorrow? By the way, Liverpool and Fulham.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm predicting a Liverpool victory.
Yeah.
I think the first leg went in our favour, and I think I'm seeing nothing different in the second leg. I'm certainly hoping for nothing different, and hopefully I'll be able to get my eyes and watch the game for a little while tomorrow. But yeah, I think Liverpool are going to come through.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say, if that happens, producer Damon, who's not currently behind the Mac, but he's a Chelsea fan, so you'll have to take it up with him in a couple weeks.
All right, we'll speak another time then.
Well, if we go back though, when you were a kid and you were watching Liverpool, who was one of your favourite players to watch then?
Good question. I would say in my earliest days as a Liverpool fan, it would be players. I probably grew up on the Kenny Dalglish stories. Maybe didn't get to see him playing quite so much. He was more in a managerial role when I first really sort of remember watching Liverpool. But the team at the time would be players like John Barnes and Ian Rush and Steve McMahon, Peter Beardsley. That age, that era of players. And my first experience of seeing Liverpool win a trophy was actually the FA Cup final in 1992, I believe it was, and they beat Sunderland 2-0 at Wembley that year. And I think, if I'm right in saying, Ian Rush scored a goal that day, as did Michael Thomas. So that was a memory that is vivid in my mind. I think it was my first time at Wembley at 10 years old or so. But yeah, as far as the players go, it was that John Barnes, Ian Rush, and that group of players. It was a fantastic team.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's a pretty cool memory. And also, then you're as a youth, you're watching Liverpool. You're kind of saying, hey, like there's the spark, there's the love for the beautiful game. Where does it kind of turn to? Okay, I want to pursue this as a career, and like, hey, I think I can actually play this. Like, what does that look like for you?
I think when you're a kid, it's an organic process. It sort of evolves and it happens without a lot of thought involved with it. Obviously, you're playing because you love the game, and you're playing because there's nothing else really that you'd rather do, and so you carry on. And you probably get to a point where I was involved with some academies in my younger teen years, and it gets to the point where maybe you get to a stage where people say you have some ability and you have some talent, and from your point of view, it doesn't really change a lot in what you're doing. You're still enjoying it, and you still love it, and you still play. I love the competitive side of the game always. I think people who grew up playing with me would probably support that. I was a very, very competitive player on the field. And so, when you get to that point where, you kind of move through age groups and you grow through improving levels of the game. And, there comes a point where you sort of realize, okay, maybe I'm decent at this, and maybe I have a chance of going a little bit further with this. And people give you that support and give you that confidence to back that up a little bit. And, that's, I think, sort of how that process goes. But it's not until, for me, it doesn't really happen until certainly your later teenage years, where you sort of start to consciously think, okay, maybe this is something that, I think about how this path moves forwards for me. I think until that point, it's for the love of the game. And for me, it's so important to keep that part, because honestly, that's the part that will sustain you as you move into more of a professional environment with the game. It becomes easier and easier to forget the passion that you had as a fan before you were involved in it professionally. And so, for me, that's still a big part of how I view things. It's still a big part of my personality is a passion for the game, a passion for now not playing the game, but still working with players who play, and occasionally reminding yourself to feel it from a fan point of view, I think is important as well.
And of course, you mentioned academy involvement in your young teens, but then in those mid-teens, you end up making a move over to this side of the Atlantic. Yes. And not just that, but here in the Valley, you were living in Tempe.
Correct.
When you move over at that kind of age, what kind of experience was that like for you? I guess what were some of the biggest culture shocks and all of that?
It was an amazing experience. I'll start with that. I was in Tempe. My family moved to Tempe, and I attended Corona del Sol High School. So I was there for about a year and a half or so, and it was a wonderful experience for me. As far as culturally, I think I was probably still just about at an age where I don't remember having reservations about making that move as a family. It wasn't something that I don't remember as a 15-year-old being concerned or worried or not wanting to do that. And it was a great experience, I think, from my development as a person to experience a different country and to experience a very different culture from where I'd grown up. And I'd spent bits of time in America from a holiday point of view, but certainly not any period of time where I really knew what it would be like to come and live here. And that experience was, if I'm honest with you, probably the biggest impression of the US that I had at that stage, as I'm sure this is true for many people outside of this country, is what you see in the movies, and what you think you pick up from the acted version of what you see in those films. And for me, it was a very different cultural experience. I made a lot of great friends, and playing soccer and joining those school teams and playing in youth soccer here in Phoenix was a huge part of quickly helping me adapt to that culture. And I made very good friends that honestly still live very close to where I currently live now. And these are friends who have remained really close friends of mine over 25 years now. And when I was playing in England, I would travel back to the US to spend time with them in my off seasons, and it was something that meant a lot to me to do that. And I really enjoyed the time that I spent here in Tempe. And like I've said, for me to be back in Phoenix was a fun and exciting added element to anything professionally that I was able to join with Phoenix Rising. So that just gives me, I think, more connection to the city, and certainly I wouldn't swap that experience for anything.
It's awesome. I'm seeing Fat Kid in the chat. You guys went to the same school.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. Nice. No, well, okay. So then you're kind of looking at everything, right? Spend your time in Arizona, right? We talked a bit about kind of going into your professional career, I guess as it's like going from, hey, I'm playing, to kind of looking at what that kind of looks like post playing days. What did that kind of look like for you? Like, hey, what do I want to do after my playing days are done? And how does like coaching kind of get into the mix there?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I got into coaching very quickly after I finished playing. Mm-hmm. It was something that I'd began working through some coaching badges in England while I was playing. And it was something that I saw as maybe a way that I would like to stay involved with the sport. And so I got going with it very quickly. I was quite soon after finished playing offered an opportunity to come and return to the US again, mm-hmm. and began my coaching career really, I would say, full-time in Las Vegas. So I spent just a bit more than 8 years in Las Vegas, and worked with 2 or 3 different youth clubs and academy programs. And it was a wonderful place to hone my craft at that time, and it gave me experience in working with every age group of player, every ability level of player, on the boys' side, on the girls' side, and during my time there, I then became more actively involved with more of the national side of the game, with some US soccer pieces and some US soccer camps, and began doing scouting and player evaluations, and as you do, began to create a network and to grow a contact list that again, one thing I would say is I was extremely fortunate to have, and still do have, some fantastic mentors from a coaching point of view, and I as I look back on my coaching journey now, these people that I was around and the people that I was able to spend thousands of hours with over those years did huge things for me in developing me as a coach. And that's from a personality point of view, from a personal point of view, and obviously from a skill set point of view. So I know I have extremely fond memories of Las Vegas. My family still live there, so I return to Vegas regularly, and it's a place I always enjoy going back to. And same as I said about Phoenix, I have many good friends in Vegas as well. So that for me was the first place where my coaching career began. It was a great place for me to, like I say, develop and hone my craft.
Did you dabble in a bit of indoor in Vegas as well with a team that you there?
I did. Yes. I mean, this was a point where I'd obviously retired from playing professionally, but still wanted to stay connected to the playing side a little bit, and felt I could still at that point. And it was a good. I enjoyed that. There was a team in Las Vegas that did play some indoor, and I was part of that group, and it was a nice experience, really fun time for me.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah. Stat Lucky Reese, shout out to Stat Lucky Reese actually for digging this one out. When
That's a good find.
He sent me something here, and it was you were talking about the NASL, and I think what? Okay, and then start looking. Is it the National Alliance Soccer League?
Okay,
was what it was called at the time.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that was wow, this is really weird stuff when you look at just the history of, I think, like, honestly, the sport in general in this country, and especially like over, even you look at like the last 20 years, just the number of those kind of leagues that pop up and then disappear and pop up and disappear.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, this is probably a good example of that. And again, we had some great people involved with that, even though it was a short time for me. We had people like a very close friend of mine, John Kennedy, who is a legend in the Las Vegas soccer scene, who was involved with indoor soccer in Las Vegas for a long time. And John is still a close friend of mine, and was probably a big reason why I decided to get involved with that for a short time. But again, I enjoyed it immensely.
Well, now I'm like curious, like, were you like? Are you like still like kind of now? I feel like you're able to play pickup where like you're able to like go off the sides and everything like that. Was that kind of like was that like kind of like a strategy you utilized
with the indoor?
Yeah.
It was for me, that was a style of playing the game that was completely foreign to me. Nothing that I'd really experienced before. In England, growing up, we would play what we call five-a-side football, but this is just smaller fields without walls. They do have I suppose it's a little bit more like cage soccer almost, and so there is an element to that. I didn't ever play a lot of that, but so this was actually a new experience for me. Yeah, so it did take me a little bit of time to get used to how the ball moved off walls as well as just around the pitch.
Oh man.
We brought up Colorado earlier, of course, and you move over there. You worked with the youth side first, didn't you, up there?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So I began working with the Colorado Rapids while I was living in Las Vegas. And the club I was working at in Vegas created a partnership with the Rapids and was part of the Rapids technical program. And myself as a technical director with the Las Vegas organization took the lead on partnering with the Colorado Rapids from that. It was called the Adidas Alliance program. And this was something where that created that relationship between myself and the Rapids over a few years while I was living in Las Vegas. And then when I did move to Denver full time, my first role was working with the academy and working with the under-19s initially. That was another good move for me and another step forwards in terms of coaching development. And again, Colorado was another great place that I look back on extremely fondly. But yes, working with the Rapids Academy was the first piece of that journey for me. Yes.
Absolutely. I actually wasn't sure if this was also Style Like Reese, but someone dug out. You actually were on the commentary team for a match in 2016.
This is good stuff. This is good stuff. Yeah. I did that a couple of times. I enjoyed doing that, and would fill in when asked, and I enjoy doing that a lot. So this is I'm impressed with the research team. I've got to give a shout out.
That's a research team of one over there. Shout out Stack Lackey. He's very, very good. Very good. Okay, well, all right. So you have your time in Colorado, and that's the only Rapids podcast talk on here. It's in a positive light. No, we're totally joking. But right, you spend your time in Colorado, then you go on to OKC Energy, everything like that. What does that kind of look like going from working, with kind of some of the younger folks in the academy system to then, okay, boom, you're now kind of working in the trenches in that assistant coach role?
Yeah. Well, I think what I would say is my time in Denver over several seasons there. I carried on being the director of that alliance program, which grew to 15,000 players and several hundred coaches around the country in 5 different locations. That part of my responsibility was coach education and spending time with those organizations and teaching a technical development plan throughout those club programs. And then the third piece of my work during my time in Colorado was to work with the first team. And first of all, Pablo Mastroeni asked me to be part of that staff, and that was a growing piece of the role. And it was in conjunction with the other 2 aspects that I've already touched on there, and that it also evolved and became more of a regular thing for me with the first team, and also worked in Colorado with when Steve Cook took over the first team there and worked as an assistant coach with him. So I performed 3 different roles during my time at the Rapids, which then led me very well into that assistant coaching role in Oklahoma City. So by the time again I joined Steve Cook in Oklahoma City, I'd had some probably a lot more experience in Denver than perhaps I ever thought I would have amassed in that time. By being part of several different aspects of the organization, and that stood me in very good stead to go into a USL club and a club that was itself making some changes and growing an organization, and even things like developing a training ground was part of what we put in place when we first arrived. And for me, I was ready for that. And again, all of these experiences, including my time right the way through Las Vegas, brought me to a point where I'd spent a lot of time working with Steve over the years. He was, I think, comfortable in my role and what he knew of me as a person and what I could bring to the role from an assistant coaching point of view. And Steve and I worked very closely together for many years, and I think it was again an exciting project at the time for me to come and attack.
And then you look at it at that time in particular, leaving an MLS team, moving to a USL team.
Yes.
What was the contrast like?
Well, there was contrast. There was differences for sure. Of course, MLS as a league, being the top division in the US has a level of operation, and obviously has different budgets, of course, and has different ways of working that that USL are still building towards. But in my time in USL over the last 5 or 6 years, it is also an extremely quick developing league that has improved massively since I joined Oklahoma City. But it was a different task. not something that we went into blindly. It was something that we knew exactly what we were approaching. And Oklahoma City were fantastic with us and welcomed us there and gave us a lot of great resources to work with. And we, like I say, we developed a lot of things while we were there. I really enjoyed my time in Oklahoma City. If I'm honest with you, Oklahoma as a place was not somewhere I'd ever been to before taking the job there. And so, that was a bit of a leap to say, okay, let's go and see how this is from a living point of view as well as a working point of view, and experience the culture of that state and that city as well. And again, I couldn't really put my finger on an experience that I've had in my life, which I'm probably very lucky to say this, that I didn't take a lot of good things from and didn't thoroughly enjoy while I was there, and very different experiences, but every one of them I could say I really enjoyed my time doing that. So I feel very lucky about that.
Yeah, and now you're here with Phoenix.
And now I'm here, yeah.
Man. Okay, and I'm curious, right, to kind of like hear, right, all throughout your journey, not only, even on the playing side of things, but really through your coaching journey, where would you say, like, we're always learning, we're always growing, but like, where do you think it's been the difference from you of like, wow, this is really maybe from like 5 years ago or whatever to now, this is how I've really like grown my skill set, whether it's like tactically or like how you interact with players, whatever. What has that difference been for you?
Well, I think for me, probably the biggest thing is once you become an assistant coach in a professional team, as I mentioned earlier, you then become extremely responsible for working with almost every aspect of a club. And that was a big learning curve for me. That was something that forced me to improve in many areas, forced me to work with different departments more than I maybe previously had. And I think for me, like I say, that the journey I've had as an assistant coach through the Rapids into Oklahoma City and then into Phoenix Rising has given me the time and given me the opportunity to develop varying skill sets that are now required in a head coaching position, and have given me time to work with different head coaches, as we've already discussed, and take things from each of those people, and take my time in the development of my coaching craft. And I do feel it's a craft, and I do feel it's a profession that takes time to hone that knowledge and to be able to create training for players through a week and deliver training through a week and deliver information, of course, to professional players. It's a different task from delivering to youth players, but there are definitely elements of my coaching that if I hadn't been through that youth coaching journey initially, I would not be as good as maybe I can be in certain areas now as a professional head coach. So it's, that would be something I would really point to. I feel taking my time through that journey has actually put me in a really good place now to have a well-rounded skill set to move forwards.
I love that. Oh man, that's cool. It's journey's never linear, and it's always growing on.
Yeah, and they're not the same. Everybody's path is different on that, and it's there is no right and wrong to that, honestly. And that's something I have clearly seen over the years.
Oh man,
yeah.
I love that, man. Okay, and sorry, now the chat's just getting out of hand. We got a stray at Cardiff. We got
Cardiff's not going down, not at the moment. Not the way the team is looking at the moment.
All right.
That's mid-table season.
Yeah, we actually had someone a little bit further up. They're asking about. It looks like they kind of might have missed open tryouts for a bit, but they were. No. I'm actually curious to read this resume. Keep going a little bit more. Say it a little bit up after right there. I'm a player. I've played in Spain and Saudi Arabia. I've represented the U20 Saudi national team. How do I get a tryout, coach?
Well, this is something that the club every year do hold open tryouts. There's always ways of getting hold of the organization. I would say the best thing to do right now would be to go on the club website and find some contact information for maybe the administrative department in the club, who will then pass information always onto the coaching staff and to the appropriate people. So there's ways of doing it. It might take you jumping online and doing a little bit of research, but if you've missed the open tryout for this year, there's another one coming up, I'm sure, again next year, where if not before that, you can take part again.
There we go.
Yeah,
there we go. Well, you guys can also take part in our Friends at OG's Brands. Our Friends at OG's Brands, absolutely something people can partake in, right? Of course, you must be 21 plus to do so. We'll absolutely just caveat with that. But if you do, it's, I've heard it's quite the experience, right? OG's Brands, the best flavoring for the THC gummies in the state. It is scratch made. It is local in Arizona, right? Fruits, creams, whatever is, your thing. They got everything for you guys, right? Check them out at ogsbrands.com. They're all about flavoring life, making things a little bit more interesting. And yeah, man, OG's Brands, check them out on all socials at OG's Brands. And yeah, check them out. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Also, something you should check out us at PHNXLocker.com. We have the great merch. I'll be rocking look at this, the Rise to the Chop champion shirt again. This is why this bad boy's here. Got it on a shirt. Yeah, it's, we're getting a little snazzy with it. It does not come with trophy. I'll caveat with that. Trophy not included, but you can get the shirt at PHNXLocker.com. Right, we still got plenty in stock. Make sure as well, get a Diehard membership. You get the shirt for free. Plus, you get all of Owen's written content, daily newsletters, discounts to all events, merch, everything like that. Always good stuff. Of course, access to our Discord, where we'll actually be talking in a second. We got some exclusive questions, right? We're trying to address everyone in the chat where I can. You guys are going nuts in the chat, which I absolutely love and appreciate. But the people in Discord, our diehards, we got some exclusive questions from them.
We've also got some, by the way, just if you do sign up as a diehard, you also get exclusive access to the live stream of a certain
we don't have to bring that up here.
Tattoo forfeit,
No.
maybe happening next week.
I've heard about this.
I think a lot of people have heard about this.
Listen, I have no problem talking about that.
I heard he does have a problem with it. We'll get not this episode today.
All right.
I'm totally joking. It's probably going to come out anyway.
No, Max, you've been putting together a list of some of these questions.
I have. Yes, of course. I'm going to shout out Andrew. Got my shirt. Appreciate you. Yes, I see a couple questions that are in the chat, and that's actually some that our diehards brought up. So, a couple diehard questions for you guys. I'll actually start with one that I'm seeing in the chat. Want to shout out there. Yes, it was from Rob Owen. How do you look to balance Open Cup and regular season?
Good question. I think any USL schedule in itself comes with challenges from traveling between the east and west coast. That's always something that takes some management. And then when Open Cup games come into the fold as well, that obviously means that you're playing midweek as well as weekend games. Mm-hmm. As far as balancing that, one thing is obviously we have I think an excellent squad of players who are all capable of playing at a very high level, and utilization of those players and the squad as a whole is obviously a key piece to that. And then I'm a big believer, as I know that the Phoenix as an organization are, and we do a fantastic job of this, I think overall, is how we put a real focus on making the team and the club a player-centered environment, and how we take care of the players who come and play for us at Phoenix Rising, I think is a real big belief of mine of how important that is. And so we do everything we can to give them the best possible chance to perform at the peak of their abilities and to, of course, be successful as a team. And so this is something that as a staff, as a club, with ownership, we are very aware of how to best take care of players, and we try to put them in the best possible place. So it's a combination of those two things. We give them every resource that we possibly can in order for them to be high-level professionals, and then we have excellent players. And so we utilize that squad as we need to manage that schedule. So it's a great question, but it's not an easy thing to do, but we believe we have a good process in place for that.
Right, well, this one came in from Discord. It was from Paul. You mentioned obviously earlier about playing in the grassroots here in Arizona, but how do you believe now the grassroots of Arizona soccer is shaping up and how it's progressed? Yeah,
well, in my experience with spending some time with the Phoenix Rising Youth Club organization and with the Phoenix Rising Academy, I have long-standing relationships with both Chris Brown with the youth club and Andy Chapman with the academy, and I know under their direction, under their leadership, our youth organization does an incredible job of working with young players and giving them an amazing soccer experience from the youngest ages all the way through till perhaps they move into their next piece of a college journey or a professional team. As far as college in Phoenix and in Arizona on the whole, from my experience, it's become a place that has developed into a state where people look at it and they know that high level players are produced in this state, and that's every organization. That's not just Phoenix Rising. I know there's many high quality coaches working in many organizations that are doing a great job with the players that they work with. And so I think from a soccer standpoint in general, I go back 25 years in this, obviously, in this state, and I've seen massive growth in the infrastructure, a massive improvement and development in the quality with which coaches work with players, and the experiences that players are now able to have through youth soccer is an incredible one to see. So it's only growing, it's only developing, and I give great credit to everybody involved with that for doing an amazing job of improving that over the years. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Got one from Rebred. Who is a young player who you believe will make a big impact this year?
Well, I mean, I think a young player that's obviously recently just joined the organization. Pape is a player that's come to us straight from an early college career. Mm-hmm. He's a player that I know a lot of people were extremely excited about watching over the course of his short college spell. And he's a player that has come in, and I'm immediately impressed with his maturity as a person. Really enjoyed spending time with him over a short period of time so far. And I think probably from a young player point of view, he would be one that I'd be looking forward to seeing how he integrates into the group. And what I will also say is, as a young player beginning a professional career, this is something to be extremely patient with in that process. Certainly not something to rush. Certainly something to apply any unnecessary pressure to. But he's a player that we look forward to working with, and I look forward to getting to know him better as a person and to know him better as a player, and seeing how we can all aid that development journey for him. So we'll see how that moves for him and for the team this year. But we're excited about having him in the squad, and we very much look forward to giving him again the resources and the tools to learn how to become a professional player. And that's I've been there myself. I've worked with many young players in that same situation, and so he'll need guidance and support, but he comes in with an excellent mentality towards wanting to work and wanting to improve, which is the most important thing. So that's a great thing to see from him already.
And how would you best describe how you handle adversity?
This is also from Siley, and she was also said that she, in addition to hearing your answer, she's also hoping that maybe this will translate to some advice for herself as well. So you're talking to the masses, and you're talking to the people.
Yep. Well, I think first of all, it's something that you get to grips with the fact that it is an unavoidable thing. You're going to experience adversity. And people will always speak about finding out about true character in people when those tougher times come, and it's so true, and it's obviously very, very true in a sporting sense also. This is a big part of why we value the character of anybody involved with the organization, whether that's from a playing squad, from a technical staff, and from anybody involved with the front office and the business aspects of the organization. Character is something that is the underlying thing that will take us through those tough times, and then that togetherness that comes from that, it's a real critical piece. As far as any advice that I might be able to give, I think a couple of things I would say: figure out which pieces of any situation that you can control, and approach those pieces to the best of your ability. Try not to dwell and to worry too much about anything that is outside of your control, because that will only add unnecessary pressure and unnecessary stress to a situation. And for me, being able to control emotions is a big skill. That's an important part, I believe, of coaching. It's a profession where we all are very, I think, passionate people about what we do, and emotion is also an important part of that. But at the same time, being able to control emotion, especially in adverse situations and especially in difficult situations, is a real critical skill, I think. But again, the best advice I could probably give is figure out which aspects you can control and put your focus into that and not the other areas.
Man, yeah, let's go. Okay, we need you on here more often, like literally just to give like pep talks like that. I appreciate that. We all appreciate that. That's good stuff. I was gonna say, did you have anything you want to get to? Because I got some rapid fires here.
I'll get them at the end of the rapid fires.
Okay,
they kind of fit.
All right, here we go. Let me. All righty. So, got a couple fun rapid fires for you.
Yep.
Favorite player now that you enjoy watching from, like, globally, international, national, whoever that is.
I would say a favorite player of mine over the years. Let me go back to that one if you don't mind. For me, Steven Gerrard was always the player that in my time watching the game and my time playing the game, he was my favorite player. And obviously, I have extreme bias towards where he played. So that would be one I over the years I would have to name as probably my favorite player personally of all time. Now I honestly enjoy watching lots of different types of players now, and I think moving into a coaching profession, you maybe move away from what catches your eye most as a fan, and you start to view it a little bit more from a coaching point of view. So you look at a lot of different players. I think probably the one who is most exciting now and for the coming years, Mbappe is an incredible player to watch in the way that he plays and the dynamic and exciting and pace that he brings to a game, as well as extreme quality, is it's a rare thing to see. And it's I would say from a purely enjoyment point of view, I'd probably say him.
He's pretty good.
He's decent.
Yeah, he's decent. Are you pretty decent at FIFA?
Right, I'm going to be very honest with this one, because this is a question I've been asked a lot over the years. And I never ever was someone who was into video games.
Okay.
Never somebody who got into FIFA. I tried it a few times, was always terrible at it. And for me, it was always more of the hands-on, real life experience more than the online video game experience. And I know that is completely different to a lot of people. But if I would be lying if I said I was even half decent at FIFA, if I'm completely honest.
Okay. No, that's
is that a good answer or a terrible answer?
Max thinks it's great. It's somebody might beat for once.
Whoa. I am the reigning FIFA champion around these parts. Thank you very much.
That's very questionable. I mean, it's not like you read someone that says that one fails.
You turn off the game every time we play. Come on.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Let's see. We've had past couple of shows, especially hey, your name. We did an emergency pod where you were officially named head coach.
Yep.
Even kind of like, hey, seeing after one departed, seeing what everything's going to look like. We've had some fans come up with maybe some like monikers, some nicknames we've heard of. Danny Stone Cold, Dale Danny, the Stone Age.
You can't say the Stone Age.
Hey, I'm just saying
There's
what
some
the fan...
managers who that comes to mind for.
This is fair. This is fair. Is there any of those that resonate with you, or anything that you would like the people to call you other than your own name? Your own name is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to probably say I'm going to leave that one up to the fans to decide what they feel fits best. I think it would probably be wrong of me to go one way or another on that one, but I'm happy to go with any name that they decide is the most fitting.
Okay. Any nicknames over the years?
Nicknames over the years? I mean, it's fairly standard ones, honestly. I mean, the one as I was growing up and as I was playing was, as is typical in England, you sort of had an EY or an IE to the end of a name, and so for me it was Stoney was the name that I had growing up, a nickname, and it's not a massively creative one, but it's a very typical one from where I'm from. So that's really the only nickname. I get called occasionally still get called Daniel, which is my my real name. But Danny, since I was very, very young, is really 99% of people stick with Danny, I would say.
Such a great, it's a great football name. It's fantastic. Do you watch a lot of like international soccer?
Yes, I do. I enjoy watching every type of soccer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been keeping up with current competitions? So AFCON and the Asian Cup?
Yes, to a degree, although it's been a very, very busy last couple of weeks.
This is understandable.
So to a degree, yes. We've had a lot of games on, I would say more so in the background in the office over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So if you're going to ask me too many details, I probably wouldn't be able to go too in depth with it, but certainly, we've kept in touch with it, yes.
Sure. Is it fair to ask a winner for each of those two competitions?
I'm going to put that back on you.
I'm
going to put that one back on you. I don't know if this happens often to you. You tell me who you think on that one.
Ooh. Oh man. Goodness. I know I'm not taking Cameroon because for those Man United fans out there, if you're boom, Mikey in the chat's not going to like that one, turning away from your starting goalkeeper at this stage. But Goodness. I mean, I was gonna say I do. Yeah, that is a fair shout. I do like Senegal. They are the powerhouses. Goodness. I mean, I also got to go with South Korea for the Asian Cup.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go Senegal as well because we have a couple of Senegalese players also with the squad here, so I'd love to back them on that. So I think Senegal is a good shout.
Okay,
on that one, yes.
And now 2 early competitions: Copa and Euros. Who do you like as an early favorite?
There's a very obvious wrong answer.
There's a very obvious wrong answer and a very obvious right answer, I would say as well. I mean, listen, I'm going to go England. I've got to say England. I think it's. I can see some.
Well, it's a tournament coming up, and here we go. England are going to win it again.
Yeah, I mean, look, how can I possibly not say that? How can I possibly not say that? It's it's a time where I can be patriotic and I can support my national team from where I'm from as well. So let's go with that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Euros. Do you have anyone for Copa?
No, I don't. I'm going to come back to you on that one as well.
Okay.
Give me a moment here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got US taking it all. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean,
let's go.
I would love to see the US do it. I really would. The US for me, if I could see the US, achieving that competition, that would make me the happiest. The US and England are the 2 countries that mean the most to me in terms of the football world. And so, for me, that would be an incredible thing to see. And I would be a huge US fan in that event as well.
What do you miss the most from back home?
Great question. Well, I would say 2 things. I would say the culture of the city I'm from. I'm so proud to be from Liverpool, and the people that are part of that city and people that I grew up with, and I still keep in regular contact with many people that I grew up with. Although maybe that's more often than not through social media channels or through messaging. But the people of Liverpool and the city of Liverpool, no question, is what I miss the most about home. The culture of that city, and whenever I go back there, which is not as often as I would like to, but as soon as I land and I'm back in the place that I'm from, it always feels like home for me. And it's somewhere that I look forward to every time I get the opportunity to do that. So as far as what I miss most, it's the feel of the city. It's and that's the soccer culture. That's that's the humor of the people and the good-heartedness of the people from Liverpool. And for me, I'm extremely proud to be from that city. And I could talk for hours and hours about the place I'm from, and I'm always happy to do that.
Okay, I love it. The last one I have from the rapid fire. One of us, we're not going to name names. Just keeps going on about how they're like a former Golden Boot winner in their Sunday league. They just won't stop about it.
Yeah, but this is being shattered. Jake in the chat earlier said so you missed a sitter as well. So it's not
whoa. We're not naming names. We're not naming names. If you were to lace up, how do you think you would do? Even call it 5-a-side. How do you do
right now?
Yeah.
I would do okay. I've been known to jump into training sessions when needed on occasion over the last year. Juan and I would both take our turns in doing that. So I think I would do okay still at this point. I mean, it's not something that I do too much anymore. But to be honest, I think I could probably still jump into a 5-a-side and at least maybe not be at my physical peak, but could maybe add a moment or 2 of some decent quality still, I think.
Okay. Yeah. He's not here. Do you think you take Juan on in a 1-on-1?
To be honest, Juan and I have never done we've never played a 1-on-1. I mean, Juan and I have done lots of things on the field together in a training capacity, and we've taken penalty kicks, and we've taken free kicks, and we've done crossbar challenges, and we've both jumped into small-sided exercises. And a 1-on-1, I've never taken one on in that. I think it would be a good game. I think it would be a good battle. I'll say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be confident though.
Nice. Love it. Sir, you got it.
Looking at me, I've run out of questions at this point. I think
okay.
we're
all right. Well, that's fair. I'll
towards a conclusion.
No,
here.
for sure. I'll leave the fans for one question. If there is anyone, whether they have watched Phoenix Rising in previous seasons, whether they tuned in last year, whether during the season, during the playoff run, or if they've never gone to a Phoenix Rising match,
Yep.
what would you say to the fans to say, hey, this is the season to support, this is the season to come out and watch us as we go for the repeat?
Yeah, well, two things I would say. What we achieved last year was a fantastic thing for everybody, and I really do hope that the fans felt like they played a huge role in that, because they absolutely did, and they always will do. They're critical to the success of the team. They are a huge reason that we all do what we do, from a player point of view, from a coaching staff point of view. What we want to do this year is put a team on the field that represent them in the best way we possibly can, and fight for them and show a quality way of playing soccer, and of course win for them. And that's something that we're all massively keen to do. Again, it's a big focus, a big motivation. And so what I would ask of the fans is, their support to carry on, and to help us approach and attack this challenge that we have this year, where, like we said, every time we play a game, our opponent is playing the current champions of the league. And so that's something where, everything that we did as a club, and everything that the fan base did for us and with us last year, we need that same energy, and we need that same passion and that same excitement again, and more of the same and more of it. And that, if we can do that again collectively, that's the greatest thing that they can give us. And that's something that is going to be so important to us. And the players will feed off that. The players, when they hear that noise and when they feel that energy, that's what they live for in the game as well. And when we talk about passion, this is a two-way street as far as the club, the team, and the fans, and we want to give back to each other on that. So I would ask that they do what they've been doing for us, and they help take us into this new season with as much support as possible. Make the players on the field feel 10 feet tall. Give them that energy, give them that belief and that confidence, and the players will react to that, and they'll give it straight back to the fans as well. So we can't wait to get going this year. Preseason is a lot of work to get through, and we'll have some great games, I think, during preseason. But obviously, the first game of the season on March 9th is the focal point for us, and what we want is the energy in that stadium. So if I could ask one thing, is give us that again, and we will do everything we can to give it back to you.
Whew. Oh man. All right, there you go, everyone. There's your run through a brick wall material right there if you need it. Yeah, man. If you anything else on for the good of the people,
I think that's a good point to end it on.
Okay, I could not agree more. Anything you'd like to say to the people?
No, listen. I'd like to thank you guys for having me here this evening, and I've enjoyed speaking to you, and I'm sure we'll do a lot more of this through the course of the season. I'd love to do it again.
Let's go. Well, thank you for joining us. This has been the PHNX Rising podcast. Of course, you can keep up with all the great stuff that we have going on at PHNX__rising, because double the underscore,
double the fun.
Double the fun.
And because one underscore wasn't available.
Hey, this is true. You can follow me on Twitter at Max David Simpson. You can follow Owen on Twitter at OJ Evans 18. You can follow Danny on Twitter at Danny Stone 8.
Correct.
Okay, correct. Absolutely.
It's what's on the screen at the moment.
It is. It's a little far. It's a little far away. There we go. You can follow Damon Dog on Twitter at Damon DAGG. You can follow Stat Like Reese, who has gotten multiple shout outs today. He crushed it at Reese11_. Kyle, a shout out for you, sir. What is your Twitter? K-Coop Sports. You can follow Kyle, who's also been pushing buttons behind the back, crushing it at K-Coop Sports on Twitter. Appreciate everyone joining us. We're always have fun stuff. Of course, make sure to follow us, follow Owen for everything going on. A lot going on this coming week. But yes, it's a beautiful game, but so much more beautiful when you're ready to run through a brick wall, thanks to a Danny Stone speech. Good night, everyone.
We all silly like the mayor.